What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 10-game Monday slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday on this channel, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for this slate. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 10-game slate. But first, you guys know I have to show off some of the Patreon success. Last night, we had TJ almost take down all League of Legends contests with his single entry lineup. $30 into $522.84. We had another winner here, $69 into $161. That's an NHL. We also had some more success here, winning $156.50. Don't know how much he put in, but not that much at all. So almost took down every single contest there. $39 and the $73.50, and then last but not least, some close to near takedowns here in this NBA contest. Also want to reiterate that this is the first of the month, so if you guys want to jump on board for the Patreon content, now is the time to do it. $20 a month gets you access to all of our leverage sheets for every single sport, our favorite GPP plays, our favorite cash plays, all of that and so much more. You get entered into our premium Discord chat where we chat about every single slate before lock as well. So again, $20 a month, take advantage of that today. The Patreon subscriptions re-up starting today, so you get the full value of what it has to offer going forward throughout the month. Now let's talk about this NBA slate. Let's switch over to the starting lineups. Right now, we have the injury report starting lineups for every single team. The Lakers, right now, Anthony Davis and LeBron James are questionable. Dudley is out. Nothing really going on there. With Atlanta, Dunn, Hunter, and Bogdanovic are all out for the Atlanta Hawks. For Charlotte, nothing really going on there. Terry Rozier is questionable right now. If he is ruled out, that will definitely shake things up in Charlotte. With Miami, we have Bradley, Dragic, Hero, questionable. As of right now, Harkless, Leonard, and Silva are definitely out, so definitely going to be paying attention to that Miami picture. With Sacramento, we have Bjelica, Jeffries, Ramsey's out officially. With New Orleans, Steven Adams is questionable. If he is held out, that will definitely shake things up in New Orleans, but we have to sit back and kind of see what that picture is going to look like going forward. With the Knicks, nothing really going on there. With Chicago, Wendell Carter Jr. is out, and Otto Porter is questionable. So if Otto Porter is ruled out, that's definitely going to give a bump to some of these shooting guards, some of these small forwards. Going to be looking at Chicago if these guys are ruled out. With Minnesota, we have Naz Reid, Culver. Right now, Naz Reid is questionable. He did not play last night, so I don't expect him to play tonight. Definitely going to be looking at that picture a little bit later. With Cleveland, Dellavedova and also Kevin Love are out. With Portland, the normal injuries, Collins, Derek Jones, McCollum, and Nurkic are all out for these guys. With Milwaukee, nothing really going on there. Houston, Nwaba, and Exum are out. With OKC, it's going to be Ariza, Hill, and Jerome are officially out. With Phoenix, Devin Booker is questionable. We're going to be paying attention to him because if he is ruled out, that's going to give a slight usage bump to some of these starting guards like Chris Paul and also DeAndre Ayton. Looking over at Dallas, nothing going on for the first time for them all season long. With Memphis, I'm not going to read off the laundry list of injuries, but there's a ton of them. Playing in an up-paced game against San Antonio. With Detroit, Killian Hayes is still out, and with Denver, Gary Harris is questionable. If he's ruled out, that will shake things up in Denver. Now let's switch over and talk team by team what each one of these pictures are looking like. Starting with the Lakers, we have really nothing going on. Of course, Anthony Davis and LeBron James are always questionable, so this team is always very frustrating to look at. Anthony Davis did get a price increase, $9,800. LeBron James also at 10-2. Really have no interest in these guys whatsoever until we hear any injury news from any one of these starters. Switching over to Atlanta, right now Hunter is out. Same thing with Bogdanovic, so let's go ahead and switch to the usage board here. Right now, without those guys on the court, talking about Bogdanovic and Hunter. We look at Trae Young. He gets a 2% usage boost and a massive fantasy point per minute boost. Take this with a grain of salt because it's only in 123 overall minutes. So in that time, he's averaging 1.7 fantasy points per minute and the highest usage rate on the team at 34.8. So it looks like Hunter does affect these guys' usage dramatically. Same thing with a guy like Cam Reddish, averages 1.03 fantasy points per minute, and Capella averaging 1.54 fantasy points per minute on the season without these guys on the court. Reddish is only $4,800. I really do like him in this spot. Of course, if Hunter does sit, which he's expected to, projected right now at 33.66 fantasy points and a 7 point per dollar value. One of my favorite value plays on the slate, just with the huge usage boost. Trae Young, a very good GPP play as well at a 9.3K price tag, a 6.6 point per dollar value, averaging 1.7 fantasy points per minute. I really do like him, and all these guys seem very undervalued with maybe the exception of John Collins. Clint Capella averaging 1.54 fantasy points per minute makes for a very intriguing GPP play as well. I have him projected right now at 47.85 fantasy points as an actual projection. So all these guys are going to be great GPP options. I don't expect them to be chalky, but if they are chalky, I get it. I think Cam Reddish is definitely going to be one of my favorite value plays on the overall slate. Switching over to Charlotte, nothing really going on here. Of course, if Rozier is ruled out, we're going to be paying attention to these guys. It's going to give a bump to somebody like Devontae Graham, somebody like Gordon Hayward, and also LaMelo Ball. If LaMelo Ball is playing minutes, obviously going to love him here at the 6.5K price tag, but has been tremendously undervalued with all these minutes given to him. Anytime he plays over 30 minutes, I expect this guy to smash value, especially at a 6.5K price tag. As you guys can see, dropping 35.5 fantasy points and 55.25 fantasy points in his last two contests. But all GPP options are right now. We're going to be paying attention to these guys once we get closer to lock. Switching over to Miami, definitely nothing going on here. Jimmy Butler got an $8,400 price tag, so definitely got a boost in that salary from 7.3K. Not really on him in terms of cash plays, but when we're talking about GPP options, he's definitely going to be flying under the radar. A softer defense, so I am going to be on these guys for GPPs, just not so much for cash. Definitely no obvious plays here from the Miami Heat. Switching over to Minnesota, as we know, Naz Reid was held out last night. If he's held out again, it's going to give a tremendous boost to somebody like Ed Davis. Ed Davis had a pretty good game, playing 23 minutes, which is what we're going to be expecting him if Naz Reid is held out again. I think he's going to be one of my favorite value plays if he is held out going against Cleveland. He's only $3,300. $3,800 now. So even at that price tag, I expect him to easily eclipse that 20 DK point mark, which makes for a very good value play. Nobody else I have real interest in. It's just going to be Ed Davis and these value players from the center position. Switching over to Cleveland, nothing going on here. Okoro had a very good night last night, scoring 22 points at that very low price tag. The one thing I like about Okoro is he's playing a ton of minutes day in and day out. 33 minutes is what he's projected at right now, and got a price decrease in a pace-up spot. So I don't mind Okoro if you're looking for another value play here from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andre Drummond has just been playing out of his mind, even given the limited minutes. Last night he played 33 minutes, so I don't hate him, don't love him. I think he makes for an intriguing GPP option if he's not that chalky. If he's actually going to be playing plus 30 minutes or so again in a pace-up spot against Minnesota, then I definitely like him. But right now he's only projected at 28. Colin Sexton, also another player that's playing a tremendous amount of minutes. But this is a pace-up spot. He was very lackluster last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, so his ownership will stay relatively low. Just prefer him in GPPs. Switching over to the Knicks. Right now, there's no interest from me. Mitchell Robinson, probably the only guy I do like. He's been playing very, very poorly as of late, but this is going to be a pace-up spot for the Knicks, so I do like him here in this specific matchup, but it's just a GPP option. 5.2K is a very easy price tag to get to. Elfrid Payton projected in 23 minutes. Looks like he's been dropping off in minute production, so don't like him too much. The only guy I have real interest in is going to be Julius Randle and also Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks, and those are just GPP options. Switching over to Chicago, if we take Wendell Carter Jr. off the court, these guys actually get a tremendous amount of usage boost. Zach LaVine gets a 1.5% usage boost and a 0.15 fantasy point per minute boost. Kobe White gets a 1.1 usage boost and a 0.05 fantasy point per minute boost, and also Markkanen does get a nice boost. Patrick Williams benefits a lot usage-wise, a 2.9% usage boost and a 0.04 fantasy point per minute boost. So if we take all that into consideration right now, Zach LaVine is the highest usage guy on the team, a 30.8% usage and a 1.4 fantasy point per minute production. Putting that all together at a 9K price tag and projected at 36 minutes, I love him. A 5.6 point per dollar value, probably the best value here from the the Chicago Bulls. They are in a pace down spot, but if this game does remain competitive, I absolutely love Zach LaVine and GPPs. I expect his ownership to remain low just because his ownership is always low because Chicago is always getting blown out. Marketing also not that bad of a GPP option at a 6.8K price tag, and Thaddeus Young, especially if Otto Porter is rolled out. We're expecting Thaddeus Young to be playing, 28 to 32 minutes here on the night. So I love him right now. I have him at a 5.2 point per dollar value. Switching down to the Portland-Milwaukee game, this should be a high-scoring affair right now. The over-under is at a 235.5. The big hesitation I have on this game is if the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be blowing out Portland, because without McCollum, Nurkic, Derrick Jones, and Zach Collins, they look a lot worse on paper. Just looking at some of their stars here, Damian Lillard, a 10.7K price tag, only rating to a 4.9 point per dollar value on their sheet in a pace-up spot. If they can remain competitive, it's going to be because of Damian Lillard. I still like him, and I like him for cash because he's going to be probably carrying ownership. But other than that, I mean, there's no real interest here. Robert Covington has been playing very, very poorly to start the season at a 5K price tag. Cantor looks to be slightly overvalued at a 5.6 point per dollar value, and that's using Fantasy Cruncher's projections. Carmelo Anthony does look okay, 4.9K price tag, but even he's only a 5 point per dollar value. Switching over to Milwaukee, Giannis at an 11K price tag. Again, if this does remain competitive, you can stack this game. Giannis should easily cover his price tag right now. Fantasy Cruncher has him projected at 68.21 fantasy points. He should be relatively carrying some kind of ownership just because of the high over-under. But again, if they blow him out, he's not going to be playing the entire fourth, and you're going to miss out on a crazy amount of points. So if this game stays close, yes, absolutely love all these players, but that's the big question mark of the evening. Is this game going to stay close? Same thing with Chris Middleton. Love his potential if this does remain close. 8.5 point per dollar value or 8.5K price tag. And Brook Lopez, a 5.5K price tag. I like him here, a 6 point per dollar value. Switching over to the Sacramento Pelicans game, Hassan Whiteside played absolutely out of his mind the previous two contests when he plays 20 minutes. Right now, he's projected at 16. If these three guys are held out, which we expect them to be held out, he's only a 3.6K price tag. I still love him for GPPs. Absolutely love him if he's playing 20 minutes with these guys held out. He averages over 1.16 fantasy points per minute and a 6.1 point per dollar value if he gets those minutes. If he gets more minutes than 20 minutes, then yes, lock him in as a great value play. Halliburton's been playing out of his mind as well. Projected right now at 30 minutes. I like him for a value play, more so for GPPs, because this is going to be a slight pace down spot for the Sacramento Kings. Buddy Hield 6.5, just a GPP option. Same thing with Richaun Holmes. Switching over to the Pelicans. Pelicans I absolutely love tonight. All their price tags don't make any sense whatsoever, especially if Steven Adams is held out. If he is held out, give a usage boost to all these big men, especially Zion at a 7.9K price tag. I've been saying over and over and over again, he's one of the safest players in the NBA right now, especially in a pace-up spot versus the Kings. Love Lonzo Ball, love Eric Bledsoe, love Zion, love Brandon Ingram. One of these guys, if not two of these guys, will have ceiling games in this game, okay? Lonzo Ball is going to probably be my favorite right now. He's off that minute restriction, getting about 32 minutes, a 5.5K price tag. He's over a fantasy point per minute player on the season, so a 6.2 point per dollar value is what we have him right now. And again, if Steven Adams is held out, we're going to be looking straight to the big men. Anybody getting over 20 minutes in that center position, I'm going to absolutely love for value. Switching down to Houston, we now finally know what the picture is going to look like with Houston. We have a good sample size. John Wall and Oladipo, fantasy point per minute wise, are about the same exact player. John Wall still not off a minute restriction. He's projected at 30 minutes. Therefore, not going to prefer him. Going to prefer somebody like Victor Oladipo for upside. But John Wall at a 6.9K price tag is $1,100 cheaper than Oladipo. So take that as you will. Still, all these guys are going to be GPP options. There's no real standout option for this team. Christian Wood, a fantastic player. We know 8.9K price tag though is very expensive, a 5 point per dollar value. And then PJ Tucker, if you want to take a stab at him, 3.9K, only a 0.44 fantasy point per minute player on the season. A 5.1 point per dollar value is what we have him at right now. Looking over at OKC, nothing going on right here. Malden at 29 minutes is a good value play at a 4.3K price tag. This is a pace-up spot versus Houston. a 5.2 point per dollar value, and Baisley at a 5.1K price tag. But outside of that, don't really like anybody from OKC. Switching over to Phoenix, the big question mark is if Devin Booker is going to play. If he is, then that gives a slight bump. As we know, the Chris Paul, also the Ayton. Right now, the price tags are very expensive. So if he does play, I'm going to be completely off of the Phoenix Suns for both GPP and cash. Right now, Dallas has everybody back, but there is one big guy that passes the eye test here, a $4,000 Josh Richardson. We know what he did in Philly. Definitely not the same player here in Dallas, only averaging 0.63 fantasy points per minute on the season. But again, $4,000, you get a 32-minute sample here, 6.4 point per dollar value. I think he's a very interesting play for cash. I think he's safe just because he's playing those minutes and we know his potential. So I'm going to probably lock him in cash. I think he's a very obvious play, of course, pending all the crazy injury news that we have throughout the slate. Finney Smith, a 4.1K price tag, does pass the eye test as well, but definitely just more of a GPP option. And Porzingis and Doncic are always going to be good pay-up options, especially against a weak Phoenix Suns defensive team. They're projected right now at 110 points, but just GPP options for me from the Dallas Mavericks. Switching down to Memphis, we have a ton of people to cover for this. They all still look great. They got salary increases throughout the board here. Xavier Tillman, a 4.8K price tag, a 5.7 point per dollar value, is going to be one of the more obvious plays on the slate. He's still averaging over a fantasy point per minute here, 1.05 to be exact, projected in 27 minutes. I have him pinned at 27.54 fantasy points, a 5.7 point per dollar value. Like I said, John Morant, not that bad of an option as well, a 5.5 point per dollar value, and they're playing the Spurs, so this is going to be a slight pace-up spot. It should be relatively competitive. I love this team overall in terms of upside. Talking about Melton at 22 minutes. Kyle Anderson also showing over a fantasy point per minute player in 28 minutes. I have him pinned here for 31.36 points and a 5.4 point per dollar value. So still think these guys are slightly underpriced. Not in love with them as much as I was Saturday night, but still have some potential here for the Memphis Grizzlies. Switching over to the Spurs here, DeMar DeRozan still only at $7,000. Passes the eye test. Had a very bad game in the last game. Only played 25 minutes, but still had a extremely poor performance. He should pick it up tonight. I think he's going to be more of a GPP option, and I do love him here at that 7K price tag. DeJounte Murray still not appropriately priced, 6.6K. Absolutely love him as well at that price tag. LaMarcus Aldridge is also slightly undervalued at a 5.5K price tag. I do expect these guys to be relatively low owned. DeMar DeRozan, if he does carry ownership, well, then the public is actually pretty sharp because he should bounce back from that last game. Switching over to the last game on the slate, only starting at 9 o'clock, by the way. Detroit, not too much to be said here. Mason Plumlee, a 5.3K price tag, is probably the only guy that I really like here. Projected in 27 minutes in this game, and then we'll talk about Denver here. This does have blowout potential, so be wary of these guys. These all should be very low owned. We have to always talk about Jokic at a 10.9K price tag. Not that bad of an option here. Playing projected 37 minutes, so I do like him. Will Barton, 4.8K, definitely passes the eye test here. Projected in 31 minutes, so a near cash option here for Will Barton against the Detroit Pistons. Like him as well, and especially if Gary Harris is ruled out. So that will end my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your Monday, and let's cash.